Hello, this is Robert with SnapTech Software and welcome to another video. Today we'll be discussing extensibility. Now, what exactly is extensibility and why is it so important to your company? The easiest way to understand extensibility is to compare it to a factory. As we know, factories are buildings that take in raw materials to produce finished products. Well, extensible software is something that uses raw data to produce results. Now the benefit is the factory never grows, it never gets any bigger. No matter how many products it produces, the building remains the same size. Well, this is the general principle behind how extensible software works. So the best way to understand is to take an actual example from the real world. Let's say your company needed a way to convert weights. The requirement was they wanted to convert from any unit to any other unit. Now, at first the problem looks pretty basic. But when you start looking closer, you begin to realize just how complex this problem can become. Well, let's take a look at how many developers would solve this problem using code. Well, many of the developers would be tempted to just start coding by hand. So how hard could that be? Well, let's do the math. Remember, for each unit, you have to convert it to every other unit. You don't have to convert it to itself, but that gives us n times n minus 1 calculations. Well, for 5 units, you have to do 20 calculations. Adding one more gets you all the way up to 30. As you add units, you begin to see how complex this problem starts to become. It's also very prone to errors, and let's face it, it's impossible to test. So how do you simplify the solution? Well, let's pretend for a moment you work for a small airline and your job was mapping out routes. Now, bear with me, I promise this is relevant. Let's assume you fly to 5 cities. Now, from each of those 5 cities, you can fly to 4 other cities. Well, you'll notice the formula for this problem is the exact same formula we use in our previous problem. It's n times n minus 1 flights. In this case, 20. Well, we all know that large airlines fly to multiple cities, and they also fly there multiple times a day. Well, you'll notice doing this could lead to thousands of flights. Well, that would be impossible. So how do the airlines solve this problem? Well, we know that most large airlines use cities known as hubs. These are cities of large populations that people travel to and from most frequently. The map on the right is from JetBlue. As you can see, they hub out of New York and Boston. Well, doing this drastically reduces the number of flights. Well, what if we applied the same principle? So let's visualize our problem as if it were a logistic one. We'll apply the same concept the airlines have done. Let's start with using a hub. In this case, we'll use kilograms. Now this would work with any of the units. Now when you do this, all the units agree to connect through the hub. Rather than flying directly to each other, they all convert through the same common point. Now the benefit of this is once you know the direction to the hub, you can reverse directions to get back from the hub. In this case, we'll use division to get to the hub and multiplication to return. The next step is to give each unit a conversion factor. Now what is this? That's the number you would divide by in order to get to kilograms. Ironically, it's the same number you would multiply by in order to get from kilograms. So let's see how a conversion would work. Let's say you have 100 ounces and you want to know how many grams that weighs. Well, the formula is simple. You take 100, you divide it by the conversion factor for ounces, and you multiply it by the conversion factor for grams. It's that simple. Now to prove this works, all you have to do is reverse it. You take the answer from the previous question and you follow it back through the same path and you get back to the original number of 100. Of course, we're rounding here, but you get the general principle. So now that we have our hub defined and we've come up with our conversion factors, all we have to do is place these into a simple table. This is what makes it extensible. The function really comes down to 3 simple steps. Get the input, you get the output, and you do the formula. The benefit of this is the program never changes. If you want to add more conversions, you add rows to a table. Now that you have an extensible system, you realize this system can actually be used in other areas. This same conversion we use for weights, well, the same principle can be used for measurements. In fact, you can even use it in currencies. Now there are 200 currencies in the world. This would save us a lot of code. And that's it. Be sure to stay tuned for more videos, and we appreciate you watching. Have a great day.